Hi there and welcome to this lecture about the world's history. Today I will talk about the transformation from hunters and gatherers to farmers, also known as the agricultural revolution or the Neolithical revolution. My name is Marcus Henriksson and I'm a history teacher here in Sweden. So let's begin with the time period, the Stone Age. It is a difficult period to date. It starts at different times depending on where you look. Because the Stone Age begin with the humans' use of various stone tools, and the oldest ones that we have found are around 2 to 3 million years old. And the Stone Age ends with the beginning and the use of bronze tools, around 8000 to 2000 BC. How did people live during the Stone Age? Well, people often lived in small groups, usually 2 to 6 families in each group. They hunted together, fished, gathered fruits, nuts, berries, roots, and so on. And they used simple stone and bone tools. Tents were often used for most of the people during the Stone Age. They took animal hides, put them up, and so on, in order to move from one place to another kind of easy. In many films and TV series we can see that humans lived in caves, and yeah, they did, but it was quite unusual, considering the fact that they need to move in order to get as much food as possible. Humans also began now to domesticate different animals, such as the dog, by turning the most kind wolves into dogs. We can see certain advantages of living during the Stone Age. People had a lot of free time or spare time. They basically just collected food for around 1 to 2 hours each day. So they had more time to be social, they danced, played music, told each other stories, and basically just chilled. They also had better and more varied food and diet than people have today. So basically, during the time they lived, they were healthier than we are today. However, you should know that they lived much shorter lives. They didn't have modern medicine and so on. During this time, we can also notice the bunch of cave paintings. Here are some from France. Here are some from Somalia. And here are some from Indonesia. These cave paintings, may be up to 30,000 years old. In Sweden, we can see rock carvings from around 7000 BC. What did people paint? Well, mostly other humans, but also certain gods, animals, often in the context of hunting, social stuff like dances, ceremonies, sacrificial rituals, and so on. The agricultural revolution started about 12,000 years ago or 10,000 BC. But how and why did people become farmers? Well, there are different theories. The oldest one is the so-called oasis theory by Raphael Pumpelly, and he basically thought that climate change made the climate warmer and drier. People therefore sought out oases because they were basically forced to experiment new ways in order to produce food and survive. We also have the river valley theory, developed by Robert Braidwood in 1948. And he assumed that people in river valleys figured out very early on how to grow wheat and specialize in it because it was more efficient than hunting and fishing. We also have the demographic theory by Carl Sawyer. And he thought that various economic and social changes during this time led to the fact that some people ran out of food and needed more. So in order to get the society to work and the groups to work and continued living, they basically had to develop new ways of getting food. We also have the little interesting theory that is known as the party meal theory by Brian Hayden. Partying was a sign of dominance, and to show that you were the biggest and best, you needed a lot of different various foods. So he thought that people developed and experimented in order to get more foods, in order to become more dominant. We also have the theory of innovation by Rupert, 2008, and he thought that trade centers, places where people traded a lot with each other, were the birthplace of agriculture, because people from different parts of the world met there in order to trade and exchange ideas. So we don't really know for sure how people went from hunters and gatherers to farmers, but certain theories are more possible than others. But we can see certain benefits of farming. There were now fewer transfers than ever before. You could stay in one place. And it was easier to support and have more children. Was the change quick? No. These changes, that is from hunters and gatherers to farmers, took very long time. Many people continued to hunt and gather and fish and so on for certain periods, and then they cultivated the lands for certain periods. However, farming became more and more convenient, and over time people began to evolve from gatherers and hunters to farmers. And there are some consequences of these changes. The agricultural revolution changed the way we lived. We became permanent residents for the first time in human history, and we also got a surplus of food, which meant that the population now started to grow more rapidly and more quickly than ever before. But in certain areas they got more food and resources, so we can also now see the start of wars. And we can also see the creation of villages and cities. The first human cities can be traced back to 10,000 to 9,000 BC. And people concentrated to certain areas where it was easier to grow more food, such as the Nile in Egypt, Euphrates, Tigris, Mesopotamia, the Indus River and Ganges River in India, Huanghe and Mekong and so on in China. So people basically gathered in these places, and it is also here we can see the first strong and large human civilizations, such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, India and China. So I hope that you during this short lecture have learned something new. The sources I have used for this lecture are History by Elisabeth Ivansson and Matthias Turdaj, A History of World Societies by John P. McKay, World History New Perspective by Clyde Ponting, Perspective on History by Lars Hansen och Ran Nyström, Wikipedia Stone Age, Wikipedia Mesopotamia, SO-rummet.se by Robert de Vries and Hans Torbjörnsson, Jericho, the First City on Earth, Ancient History Documentary, Secrets of the Stone, a documentary on YouTube. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment sections below. You can also email me if you like, and I will try the best I can to help you out. I hope you have a great day. Bye.